This week's episode is brought to you in part by MPix, delivering the highest quality prints and products from your photos. Shoot today, upload tonight, we ship tomorrow.
Hi, this week on PhotoshopUser TV, I'm doing
And also on this week's episode, I've got a whole lot of nothing.
And I'm just happy to be here. And it all starts now.
Welcome to PhotoshopUser TV, brought to you by the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. And now, here are your hosts, the Photoshop guys.
Well, hi everybody, welcome to a semi-permeable episode of PhotoshopUser TV, brought to you by the fine people over at the National Association of Photoshop Professionals, the people that bring you PhotoshopUser magazine.
In 3D.
And Corey Barker, apparently holding that magazine in 3D. Mm-hmm. All right, so guys, the whole beginning was just a joke. We will actually do more for you this week than the somewhat swear words.
I've got a lot more than nothing. Yes,
bits
exactly,
of nothing that we said at the beginning of the show. I'm actually going to do a tutorial this week where you ever see the Instagram iPhone app?
Oh yes.
You know, like how you could take a picture of someone's old running shoes and it puts like a special effect on it.
Right.
It's still a picture of running shoes, but for some reason it's hip running shoes. So I've got a tutorial.
It's like running a filter on it, just so it makes it a little bit more interesting. Exactly. So.
It's just fun to do. I'm going to actually use a picture from my cell phone on it because that's what everybody uses.
Precisely. All right. I've got something, a little quick trick with using layers and layer styles and how to do some quick tricks for transferring certain features to other layers.
And Pete, who's just happy to be here,
I'm going to teach you how to do something to save yourself when your boss comes in and wants you to make a quick design for him, his kids, birthday party, something like that.
Ah, that never happens here.
No, never.
Pete, what is that on the screen behind you, please?
Oh, well, you know, we've been having this discussion about the X100, so I had to
the great camera that it is.
RC up there being his hipster self with his X100. Since he can't be here with us, I thought I'd have him here in spirit. So and he does look cool with the X100.
And you know what's amazing about that photo?
This picture's in focus. That's
and
because I didn't use the X100.
Because you used a DSLR, right?
Exactly.
Well, you know, the funny thing is that camera actually looks better in a picture than it does taking a picture.
Oh yeah, it's definitely got a hip look to it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing the love fest that goes on with the X100, and we've gotten our share of haters because we don't love the X100.
Yeah. The only people that like the X100 are the people that paid a lot of money for it and feel like they have to, but we won't even go there. Sorry, who said that? Corey, it says my name first up there for a tutorial. I'm not quite ready yet.
You're not quite ready?
So, can you throw to Pete?
So
I'll go right after Pete.
As Matt prepares,
this highly scripted show that we have.
As Matt prepares his jaw-dropping tutorial, we're going to go over to Pete and see what he's got for us today. Pete, show us the boss annoying trick or whatever it is.
Well, I'm sure none of y'all have experienced this.
Never.
Being a graphic designer anywhere, you are the go-to guy whenever anybody needs something done real quickly. Your boss walks in and says, "Hey, my boy's got a swimming party tomorrow, and I'd love to make a neat new card for him. Can you just whip something up for me? Oh, and by the way, I have no budget, and you have to do this on your own time after work. Can you just knock something out for me?"
This never happened to you before, has it?
Oh, my God.
That's very specific parameters there, Pete.
Well, and of course, you spend hours doing it, and then you come back and go, "Yeah, that's nice, but I'd rather have it in pink."
Well, it's because they always know what they don't want, but never what they do want. Yeah.
So I'm a little sarcastic. I'm passive aggressive when stuff like that happens. So what I try to do is come up with something that's going to be cheap for me, going to be easy, and maybe a little snarky when I give them the design. And so let's say you've got to design an invitation for a pool party. Well, I immediately think sharks. So what I have done is I have simply taken a shark vector image from iStock Photo, and I've created a brush for it. And if we go over into our brush presets, you can see what I've done is I've just simply taken my shark shape and I've added size jitter, so it changes around. I've also created it so that it does a little bit of scattering so that I can give a bunch of depth to it. And what I'm trying to do is think about if I'm looking at a pool, I'm going to want to be looking down on the sharks so that I can just simply start dragging my brush around and creating little pools of sharks. Now this works best if you're going to do something like this on creatures or things that you're either going to look up on or look down on, because it's going to create this sense of a swarm. It's going to create this sense of action going on. And so what I've done is I have simply taken this brush and I've put in a bunch of sharks, and to show you kind of the finished product is I have created a bunch of depth by just using that one simple brush and creating a montage of sharks that are swirling around. And this would be a great place, since I've just lost my connection, great place to be able to write over the top, "Happy Birthday, Jimmy," or "a pool party," etc. You can do the same thing with something like ants. You create a swarm. This is all just out of one brush, or buzzards. You know, say your aunt's going to be 50 years old. This would be great to put buzzards and then put "Happy Birthday, you old coot," or something like that. And so these are quick little tips that you can do just by using one simple brush and using the brush presets to come up with some neat, quick little designs.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pete Collins, our newest Photoshop guy. See, you got applause.
Yeah, and I appreciate y'all not distracting me back there while I was doing my tutorial. That's
We're
great.
distracting a camera person.
It's great how Pete has channeled his hate for his bosses and family into his Photoshop skills. So
yeah, everything seems to revolve around my getting back at somebody who's jilted me in the past. So.
Right, yes. You've channeled your demons. That's a good thing. Right. Good. All right.
So I got a quick tutorial that I kind of mentioned before. We can call it the Instagram effect, but it's I'm actually using a photo taken with a cell phone because that's what you see it with.
Sure.
It's usually photos that by themselves don't stand on anything, don't even look very good.
Nobody really cares.
And when you're done with the effect, they still don't look very good, but for some reason it's got a hip effect to it. And
you might look at it a few more seconds than you would have before.
Everybody's like, "Ooh, wow, that's like from the 70s. What'd you do?" So anyway, you could recreate that very quickly here in Photoshop. Picture of me and my kids taken on the beach with the cell phone. So the first thing you got to do is create a new layer, and then you're going to go set your foreground color. Basically, just you want the tone for the image. So this Instagram effect has a very muted kind of beige tone to it. So I went down here and just took a very muted beigey kind of a color. But again, you can see the RGB numbers: 243, 217, 168. It doesn't have to be that. You could very easily be another color. And then click OK. And then you're going to go to Edit Fill. And you're going to fill it with your foreground color. So now I got that, and then just change the layer blend mode to multiply. So that automatically gives it a little bit of a vintage feel.
Like an aged look, yellow look, yeah.
So now let's go back down to the original layer here. And I'm going to press Command or Control J just to duplicate it, and that'll let me keep my original down at the bottom. But what we're going to do is we're going to go into Levels, Command L. And when the Levels dialog box opens, we're going to go change RGB to red. And I'm just going to drag, see the output level down here? I'm just going to kind of drag it in. And when I drag it over to the right, because I'm on the red channel, when I drag that, see how it makes the whole photo more red. And that was very characteristic of some of that old kind of vintage style film. So we'll change it to green here. And that'll add, if I drag this over, and it'll add a little bit of green. And you can see at the same time, it almost mutes the photo. It kind of gives it like a very muted, it's starting to become kind of washed out, almost muddy. And then we'll change it over here to blue, and as I drag blue over, you can see, there we go. Now we start to really get kind of that old feeling to it. So I'll hit OK. The next thing, and pretty much the last thing, is we'll come over here and we'll go to Command M, which opens up curves. So just press Command M on a Mac or Control M on a PC, and I'm just going to drag the top up a little, drag the bottom down a little bit. You see that adds just a little contrast. That's before, that's after, maybe too much contrast.
Is this blur down here like somebody's hand in the shot?
It probably is.
It actually adds something to the
it's my phone. I had my iPhone in a watertight case.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's probably either somebody's thumb over the lens, or it could be water.
Again,
that was
characteristic of those type of shots.
That's why I did it. That's why I did. In fact, had I thought ahead, I would have just dunked it in the water and then taken the picture, and it could have been like something from an X100. So we'll click OK here. And the last thing I would do here is if you go up here to the filter menu, you go over to lens correction and just kind of add a, come on, you can do it. Open. Come on, boy. Apparently, if you go to lens correction, it's a very intensive filter on your photos.
It's loading that gigantic window is what it is.
Takes 6 to 10
So Matt, when
minutes.
you're done with this, can you create an action for that? You could have been recording that whole
I could have been recording this whole thing as an action, but I didn't.
But you're not going to use it that many times, are you?
I'll probably never use it again. I just thought it was a cool tutorial. All right, so we'll come over here and we'd go to our custom settings and you just go to vignette. And whenever you throw a vignette on something, it automatically becomes good.
Cool factor bumps up by at least 3%.
So click OK. And so now we have a little vignette on that. And if I haven't added enough extra little steps to this, the last thing that you might want to do is I went to iStock. I did a search for film border. And I came up with this one. I think this one came up on the first page. I kind of like this one over here. So we'll just grab.
It's great when you get a variety image like that. It gives you several in one image.
Yeah. So let's press copy, and we'll drag it in over here. I'll paste it in. I'll scale it up like that. Drag it to the top of the layer stack. Change the blend mode to multiply. And so now you can see through. And then finally, all we'd have to do is just crop out the rest. Like that. And that is the Instagram effect.
And of course, the modern wave runners in the background are no giveaway at all that it is present day.
Yeah, this really isn't from the 70s. But you can see that's the before image, and that's the
really cool. You know.
after image. So
like you said, it does add that little slight bit of interest that you think, all right, well, it's
Well, and you
cool.
may need to do a design that has that look of the past, but you don't have the stock images from there, so you can create that feel.
And
Perhaps
like
if you
Pete
do
said,
an
if I
album cover
can,
for the Beach Boys.
if the camera goes onto the screen one more time, one of the things that you could do is as you're creating this, is before I ever did that very first step, if you go to the actions palette and hold on a second, if you go over to the actions palette, you create a new action. Just it records everything that you're doing the whole time, so that way you don't have to do this over and over again. So pretty cool.
A few simple layers. All right. Cool. So we're going to take a quick break, I think, but
Are we now?
We forgot to mention who's going to be on.
Oh, dude, we had Joey Wright in the studio. Joey Wright, awesome photographer from Orlando, Florida, and very, very good at Photoshop too. So when he combines the two, he gets some really great results. So we had him come by the studio. So got a tutorial from him. Also, our friend over here, Corey Barker. See you back in just a minute. Hey folks, Matt Kleskowski here on the set of Photoshop TV with Joey Wright. Joey is an Orlando-based fashion, commercial, swimsuit photographer, and all around really, really nice guy. So first off, welcome. I'll shake your hand as if
Thanks.
we haven't actually talked before, but this is not the first time we've talked today.
Well, this is my first time here, so.
It is. And we're happy to have Joey here. So I got to tell everybody the story of I remember the first time I met you. So we're in Tampa. Joey lives in Orlando. And Scott Kelby did a seminar in Tampa a few years ago. Correct. And so I was standing up front, and Joey comes up front, and he shows, you're showing us your portfolio. And I think there was a few of us there, and we're flipping through, and we're like, dude, this guy's good. His photography, his lighting is dead on, and his post-processing work is gorgeous. And we're just flipping through, we're like, this is awesome. And he's like, I learned it from that. He's like, you guys taught me, we were seeing all these great effects and everything like this. I learned that all from you guys. And I'm like, dude, that kicks butt. So we're excited to have you here. And I think one of the things that you want to do today, because you are, I mean, you started, you're a photographer, you do your own lighting, but you also do your own post-processing work.
Correct. Actually, went to school for graphic design. I've been working as a graphic artist for years until a few years ago when I got my camera just for fun and really just fell in love right away. And I saw a way that I could tie in the stuff I already knew, and which I learned from you guys as well. When I was just doing graphic design, I was reading all the books on Photoshop, going to the NAP workshop. So really, I do feel like when somebody is into music and there's a musician that's been inspiring them their whole life, and they end up getting to go on tour with them or something, it's kind of similar here. I mean, I really do feel that way. So,
well, we're happy to have you here. So what do you got for us on this tip here?
Well, my tip today is going to be fixing a squinty eyeball. Now, there's a popular fix out there for dealing with eyes where one is, squinting more than the other, which would be to copy the good eye, flip it, and put it over the bad eye. Now, you can't always do that when somebody's not looking directly at the camera. In this case, you can see this model is kind of looking off in a distance. So if we were to take the right eye, put it over, she'd be really cross-eyed. So I don't think she would like that. I don't think the client would like that. So what I'm going to do is show a really quick solution. It doesn't require any extra layers. It'll take less than a minute to do.
I know who would like that, though. Did you ever go to PhotoshopDisasters.com?
I have gone to that.
They would love that if you did that.
I could definitely reverse
give them
Photoshop
a whole new post for the day.
For sure. So I'll go ahead and show you guys my process on this. And let's see here. First thing I'm going to do is just show you guys what I'm looking at is this would be her left eye, but on the right side of the screen, she is squinting that eye more than the other. Now, it would be maybe ideal. Somebody might like to put the more full open eye to replace the other one. But with this technique, it's actually easier to squint the open eye to match the squinty eye. Okay. So all I'm going to do is open this up in the liquify tool. And what I want to do is use the liquify brush and just move up the bottom eyelid. Okay. Now you might notice that it's also squinting the iris. Okay. So we're going to fix that in a second.
Not the pupil.
Right. Not the pupil.
Iris.
We figured out that the retina is on the inside.
We had a little eye anatomy discussion before.
So we can say this correctly. But all I did was just pinch up the lower eyelid, just a bunch of small little quick taps. I'm using a relatively small brush, and it looks pretty good to me. If you can just ignore the squished iris. She is Irish.
The squished Irish.
And I'm gonna hit OK here. So
while that's processing, which it's already done, so I'll just interrupt.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to point out, Joey's using a PC.
I am using a PC.
And we hear all the time, like, oh, you guys are always using Mac. How come you never show? So we're showing you. I mean, Joey's using a PC. This stuff works exactly the same.
It's the same thing.
It's no different whether it's on a Mac or a PC. The tools are exactly the same.
Right.
Some of the keyboard shortcuts are a little bit different, but.
So you other guys that feel left out, don't worry. You're not alone.
No.
I'm with you.
It doesn't make a difference in the end. You can't ever look at a photo and say, you used a Mac on that one.
Well, the laptop doesn't look as cool, but it gets the job done just equally. So, okay, so now I'm back into the main screen. I can see that I've kind of matched the opening of the eye. So now the only thing we have to fix is where the eyeball is squished. And simple way is I'm going to use the history brush, which I think a lot of people kind of don't ever find a use for. It sort of goes unnoticed by many people.
I don't hear it talked about a lot.
I don't. It's not the popular tool. So,
but it's got its uses.
It really does. And here I'm going to show you one that I found for it. So I've got the history brush at 100%. All I'm going to go in and do is get in tight on this eye. Find a brush size that's going to allow me to get into some of the smaller corners of it. Match the feathering of the brush. Okay. And I'm simply going to make sure my history, one important thing is, I'm just going to make sure my history state is set back to either the very beginning of the photograph, okay? And you can do that up in the history palette. So here I have it way back. I'm just going to put it at the beginning. And now I'm going to go ahead and paint into the opening of the eye. And you're going to see that it's
the
basically, it's like a window to the original eyeball. So see here, you can see I can even hit the top lid because it doesn't matter. I don't have to go crazy with detail. All I want to do is avoid the bottom lid. If I start drawing over the bottom lid, it'll expose the old one. Right. So now the eyeball is no longer squished. We've brought the lid up and it's fixed. Now, if you want to see a before and after, another thing I'll show you real quick, just maybe a little side tip. You see I worked in one layer. I don't even have the original layer anymore to show you. And some people like to keep the original layer just to have a fallback. If you're working in one session, you always have a fallback. And here's a simple way to get to it. Just create a new layer and go up to Edit, Fill, and you're going to change the use to history. Typically be set on black or white.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it to history there, hit OK. And now I've created basically the beginning of the photo when it was in its raw form. So I just did that there to show you the before and after. So I'm going to go ahead and click and hide that layer. And you can see the fix there.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
So we brought that eyelid up. And without me explaining it, it probably would have taken 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's a nice fix.
Just a quick little tip. It didn't matter that she wasn't looking straight on at the camera. And that's just a fast way to fix that problem.
Quick and simple. So and this isn't the first time we're going to have Joey on the show here. So you've got some other tips, especially we're going to kind of continue working on this eye on some other shows. But in the meantime, where can everybody find out more about you?
My website is www.joeywrightphotography.com. And Wright is W-R-I-G-H-T. But that will basically get you to my work. It's sort of a blog and my portfolio in one. So I put current shoots on there, write little stories about them. And all of my links to my Facebook accounts, Twitter, and all that stuff, you can find right on the site as well. It's pretty easy to navigate. And I'd ask you to just keep one thing in mind as you're kind of looking through Joey's portfolio, because this is what always stands out about your work to me is I know you have a design background too. And so take a look at it. Take a look at his work, and you'll see that come through. Right. You'll see that come through not only in the way I think you set up your photos and the work that you do on your photos, but also in the layouts. And it's got you can tell there's a lot of thought and a lot of good design work that's put down in the way that you show off your work. And I think there's a lot to be learned from that. Yeah, I think some of my favorite photographers have the sort of same background in design. And I think maybe what helps with that is, as a graphic designer, you're trying to create images that stand out and grab people's attention, typically for advertising and whatnot. So I kind of have the same approach to my photography. I want to create images that stand out. So, great. Yeah. Hey, thanks for coming by here again. We're going to have Joey on in some future shows here as well. But thanks for stopping by today, and thanks for having me. Soon. Appreciate it, Matt. Alrighty, we are back with Photoshop TV. I'm here with Corey Barker. Hello. And Pete Collins, the hugger. And of course, we just had Joey Wright on it. Oh, yeah. He's awesome, man. He's just a super nice guy, very, very talented, and it's cool to see kind of where he's come so fast. Yeah, it's great to see somebody that's every bit as good as photography as they are in Photoshop. I mean, he's really got a great set of skills in both areas. Hey guys, a little known tip you might not know is I taught Joey everything he knows about Photoshop. Yeah, indeed he has. Yeah. That's interesting considering you just met him. Yeah. Sounded good. Sounded good. But Pete is good enough to teach somebody everything that they know about Photoshop. Indeed. Wait, he does? Alrighty, so wow. Somebody take this from me. I don't know what to say next. You got a tutorial? I've got a tutorial, but I think we should talk about something really cool before we get into that, and that's something that you're going to want to get very soon. I've got it right here. It's been attached to my leg this whole show. I sleep with it. It's under my pillow. Handy guide. Everybody wonders how I come up with all my stuff. It's just, no, I'm kidding. You, of course, want to check out this book right here. This is just the brand new book from who is this? Who is this guy from? Oh, this is from Matt Klaskowski. Wow, Corey, I'm so surprised that you're holding up my book right now. Yes. I never expected this. It was very random that I just grabbed it before the show. Let me say you're doing a great job, too. And thought I would say, hey, check out Matt's new book. No, I'm kidding. No, actually, no, it's a fantastic book with Photoshop compositing secrets. A lot of people don't know, though, that is a semi-permeable book. Semi-permeable book. It is semi-permeable. And it's biodegradable. Of course, it's got the super long title, like his layers book did. Unlocking the key to perfect selections and amazing Photoshop effects for totally realistic composites. See, I have this thing where I name my books really short names, but then the tagline is usually like a full paragraph. Exactly. And it does sum up everything that's in here. In fact, what were you going to say, Pete? How do you unlock a key? You know, it is interesting how you unlock a key. You read the book to find out. If the book goes to a second printing, my guess is it'll be the key to unlocking. But unlocking the key just sounded and it flowed and
It's just
it's an enigma.
Whether or not it makes sense at all, it's a great book, of course, and I'm in it. See, look, that's my picture right there.
Well, and not only that, but Corey helped me out a great deal with many of the projects inside of the book. Here's the thing. We'll put up a link if you go to kelbytv.com/PhotoshopTV for this episode. We'll put a link there to the YouTube page for the video and also the Kelby training page. There's a video. You got to watch the video. The video sums up exactly what's inside of this book, and it kind of gives you.
So can you give us in a nutshell?
Video table of contents.
Give us a nutshell of what's in it. You got like what, a dozen projects in here?
Yeah, there's an entire part of the book that's dedicated to selections. So I broke up each tutorial into 3 parts. The first part is the setup for the composite. Whether it was outside, whether it was inside, whether it was a studio, whatever it was, it's the setup. What the tripod, where the tripod, what lighting setup, if it was outside, what was I shooting, all that stuff. So the first tutorial is the setup. Second tutorial is the selection process, because it's like a mini selections book. And so it's all about selecting the people off of the background in a good way, because everyone's a little bit different. And then the third one is the whole composite, putting it all together. Cool part is I give you the PSD files all along the way. So if you want to skip a part, you don't have to work through the whole chapter. You could jump right to the composite if you want. And you'll have the starting files already selected and all that stuff.
I love how it comes full circle, because most books just show you, here's an image and here's how you composite it, but yet you start from the very beginning and say, here's how you shoot it, then composite it into your work.
And a lot of the tutorials are the background too. Because the whole reason why we composite's for the background. You want a cool background. So if it has a cool background, there's a tutorial on how I created that background too. So anyway,
very cool
make sure you check out the video. It sums up pretty good what's inside of the book, and it's almost a visual table of contents.
It's one you're going to have on your desk.
And we're giving one away today.
We are giving one away.
All right, what do you got there, Corey Barker, laddie person?
All right, got a quick little tip on some layer tricks, and these are something I actually use all the time. And I was thinking, this morning I'm thinking I got to come up with some tips for the show, and I stopped and never really thought about the tips I actually use. We're just giving you tips we don't really use. It's like, just tell them they're, No, actually,
it's a good place to start.
Some interesting layer tips. A lot of things, especially with the kind of work I do, I use layer styles a lot, layer masks, different functions of layers like that. And you're always wanting to maybe copy a layer style to another layer, or copy a layer mask to another layer. And there's a lot of different ways to go about doing that. But here's some quick little tricks. Like, for instance, here I've got on this image, here's this cool light effect on this little light streak here. Well, I've got a duplicate of that layer with no styling on it. You see I've got a layer mask on this layer, and I've got a layer style with some shadows and some outer glows and things like that. Well, I want to put that same effect on this duplicate layer. I'll just move it over here so you can see a little bit. So if I wanted to, you could obviously go and hold down the Control key and right-click right on that effects icon and go down here and choose Copy Layer Style, and then go up here and then right-click again and then choose Paste Layer Style. That works pretty well. But who has that kind of time? You see how long it took me? It took me like 3 seconds.
Yeah, dude, that's 3 seconds you could have been...
That's a lot of wasted time. All right, but here's a cool trick. If you know you're just going to copy the entire layer style over, hold down your Option key on Mac, all on Windows, and then go and just grab that effects icon and drag it to the layer. Notice where you get a big FX icon attached to your cursor. You just drag it to the target layer and release. That layer style is now copied and pasted all in one step to that layer. And if you needed to go and change it, for instance, maybe to change the color, just go inside that layer style, make whatever change you need to, and then you're good to go. So it's a quick and easy trick. Works the same way with a layer mask. You, again, hold down the Option key, grab the layer mask on this layer, drag it up here to the target layer, boom, it masks it the same way. Of course, if it was in the same position, that would make sense. But it puts that same layer mask that way. I'm not having to recreate it or make a selection of the layer mask and then reapply it. You're saving yourself a whole bunch of different steps. Now, another interesting is copying layers. Duplicating layers is a common feature. Well, one way is, of course, going and grabbing a layer, dragging it down to the new layer icon, but look at the distance I had to cover there. That was
miles.
Yes, And of course, there's a keyboard shortcut, pressing Command-J. But if you wanted to select multiple layers and make copies, you could do that, press Command-J. But here's a trick that I learned from Bert Monroy. It's really cool. On the side of a document, if you hold down the Option key, you can drag a duplicate of something. It works the same way in the Layers panel. If I just select these two layers, hold down the Option and drag up, it makes duplicates of those layers the same way it would inside the image, just dragging a duplicate in there. So
basically, if you're in the layers palette and you want to make a copy of something, hold down the Option or Alt key.
Yes, you want to copy any attribute of a layer.
Yeah.
And just try it on something that maybe you haven't even tried yet. Hold down that Option key. It's like the magic button.
It is. It's like, Dave Cross always calls it the instant make better button.
Yeah, exactly. So any tool you're using, try that Option key or Alt key if you're on Windows. It's bound to do something cool you didn't really think of. But in the Layers panel, it's a tremendous time saver for copying and pasting. And it works between documents as well. You notice I just dragged attributes here in the same document. But from document to document, it'll also drag and drop those properties just the same. So there we have it.
Very good.
Very good.
Very nice.
Hey, we're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, we'll tell you how to win the contest prize for the week and all the other various things that we have to tell you before the end of the show. And that's about it. We'll see you back here in a minute.
It's a semi-permeable break. We'll be back.
Wouldn't it be cool if we lived in a Photoshop world where you can composite everything in? Start off with some grass down here. Let's make it a sunny day. Put a tree in the back. Let's do one over here for some more shade. Add a couple of birds. Somebody to share the couch with.
What's up, Matt?
Or,
hi, honey.
much better, let's add a kid.
Hey, Dad, look at me.
Why not two?
Gotcha.
And you gotta have a family dog. Throw some text in this, and now you have your own family reality TV show. Folks, my name is Matt Kluskowski. That's exactly the kind of thing we're gonna do in my brand new book, Photoshop Compositing Secrets. In this book, I've got 15 different projects that teach you a whole bunch of different styles when it comes to compositing. We'll cover Photoshop effects, and we'll cover the selections that you need to create totally realistic composites. Whether it's a sports composite to show off a single athlete, or a business or a corporate composite, or just a group family photo where everybody wants to be together, but they couldn't all be there at the same time. Those are the kind of techniques, those are the kind of composites that we're gonna create in this book. If you're just starting out, or if you're as passionate about this stuff as I am, I hope you'll check out my brand new book, Photoshop Compositing Secrets.
Well, hi everyone, we are back and we are just about to wrap things up, but we've got the big contest.
Big contest.
Big contest.
Huge.
Big, huge, enormous. You think the lottery is big?
Corey, what's the contest question for this week?
The contest question is, I have no clue.
Yeah, you like how I did that too?
How do you spell semi-permeable?
How do you
No, there is no contest question. All you have to do is go over to kelbytv.com/PhotoshopUserTV. Click on the link for this week's show. What show is this? 275. 275. So click on the link for this week's show, episode number 275.
You know, I think for once they should ask us a question.
Yeah, you can ask us a question too. Yeah, ask us a question. There you go. That's all you have to leave a comment.
We're constantly trying to think of a question. I think we need to put the burden on them this time.
I don't care what it is. Just ask us. It'll give us some stuff for the show, because I'm sure there's going to be some non-Photoshop questions that come on there. So it'll be fun.
It's on you now.
Just go leave a comment there. You can say whatever you want. Asking a question would be fun though. All right, couple news items. So first off, don't forget that Photoshop World is coming up in Vegas, so it's not too late to get there. And the other thing, so last week, we kind of had internally here at NAP and Kelby Training, we had like a big server overhaul, move around kind of thing. In doing that, it wasn't supposed to break anything, but it broke a couple of things. Part of one of those things was the app for Kelby Training. So what you want to do is if you are a Kelby Training subscriber, you can watch Kelby Training on your iPad app. You have been for a while now. There's a free update to the app on the iTunes App Store. The Mac App Store, whatever it's called.
Make sure you get
Go download the free update to the app, because it'll fix any problems that you have. We do apologize. It was an unforeseen circumstance. We didn't know that it was going to happen, obviously, or we would not have done it.
Well, updates are part of the process too.
Anyway, so yeah, make sure you go download that update for the app, and you'll be okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Pete, what do you have to say as your final close?
I'm still just happy to be here.
You're still just happy to be here?
I love you guys. You're wonderful.
Thanks, man. Corey?
He is indeed a hugger, but I'm not hugging him.
Okay, I'm not gonna hug him either. He's hugged me.
HR already got on to me for hugging people, so.
That's why he's sitting over there.
That's good, because if they didn't, he'd be behind us right now hugging us. I have no doubt about this. I'm actually surprised he hasn't tried already. Guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the sponsors for sponsoring. I appreciate Corey for Coreying. And him for matting. On that note, take care, everybody. We'll see you next week.